I was out on Lake Norman a couple days ago, and it was hot as fish grease out there. I know it's part of the grind we endure every year when it comes to fishing in extreme heat. I just want to give you some tips that can help you beat the heat, be more comfortable in the water, you know, and help you put more fish in the boat. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and let's get started. I know anglers spend days and even weeks prepping for tournaments, trying to make sure everything is squared away. All the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. We want to make sure we have the right colors, the best seasonal baits, for that lake, a solid game plan, when we hit the water. Just like you prep for a tournament, you also need to prep your body for fishing in extreme heat. Your decision making and your judgment on the water, that's what allows you to catch fish. And if that's impaired, then you handicap the most important thing at your disposal, your brain. Heat can cause fatigue, both mental and physical, lack of motivation, difficulty concentrating, and poor judgment. If you're not prepared, it could put you on a track to a winning strategy to place you near the bottom percentile in a tournament. Let's talk about mental fatigue and what it can do to you. Let's just take this for example. It's about 2 p.m. It's 102 degrees on the water. You got a small limit of fish. You're hot. You're tired. You're moving slower because the heat is not playing out there. Right now, the only thing on your mind is making it through this last hour and praying that you catch a keeper. That way you might even get in the money. You come up to this like dock, you're like, okay, there might be a fish there. You skip your jig toward the back of the dock and it gets hung up. This is one of your favorite jigs, so you're going to do everything you can to get it free. You finally get it loose. About 5 minutes later, you throw the lay down and you see the line start swimming away in the other direction. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's a great feeling there. You set the hook and you know it's a solid fish. The fish goes airborne and you're like, oh my God, it's at least a 5 pounder. The next thing you hear is the line snaps. Either this is where you start speaking French, or you're going to be silent, probably like I do, and all you're going to hear is crickets. This may have been prevented if you were not mentally fatigued and you checked your line when you got hung up on the dock and just retied. Little things can be game changers. Let's not let this happen to you. Bass fishing is a mental game, and you have to stay focused and in a positive frame of mind throughout the entire day. We already know the conditions are tough, during the hot summer months, so you have to do everything you can not to get frustrated and make mental mistakes. I know that some of you, can go out there and fish a tournament in 100-degree weather and not take a drink. I'm here to let you know that I am not one of those people. I've seen soldiers that could run a 4.5 minute mile that grew up in the heat, that were in excellent physical condition, fall like a sack of bricks when not properly hydrated. So never say it can't happen to you. Here is some info that, I want to share with you about beating the heat. Sweating is good. It's a very good thing. It's one of the ways that your body helps regulate temperature. Staying properly hydrated replenishes the liquids that your body loses, when you sweat. You want to drink plenty of water the day before going out, and that really starts the hydration process. Getting a good night's sleep will also help. Here is a big rule. Don't wait until you feel tired and thirsty and weak to drink water, because by then you're already showing signs of dehydration. Have a routine that you basically take a drink on a regular basis, where it's like a couple drinks every hour, or however you want to do it. It's best to drink in small amounts over time rather than chugging it all down at once. You can never go wrong with drinking water, but I like to mix it up with a few low sugar sports drinks like Gatorade. They can help you replenish electrolytes that were lost due to sweating. I sometimes pack a soda when fishing, but you don't want to overdo it with the sugar-filled drinks and the carbonated beverages. They just cause you to lose fluids at a faster rate because you urinate more often. When it comes to clothing, you're going to wear light colored clothing. Dark clothing captures the sun's heat, which will raise your body temperature. Light clothing will reflect it and keep you cool. Loose clothing won't trap sweat and heat, which makes you cooler. Speaking of what type of clothing to wear, I suggest microfiber, moisture wicking, and vented style shirts. Brands like Under Armour, AFCO, and Huck are some of the ones I recommend. Also, don't take the heat for granted. Make sure you put something on your head like a hat to protect your noggin. I'm going to give you a short little story. My very first bass tournament, I was stationed in El Paso, Texas at Fort Bliss. We were fishing in this place called Elephant Butte, New Mexico. If you don't know, Fort Bliss is in the desert. And Elephant Butte is like 2.5, 3 hours away, something like that. There's not too many lakes around El Paso. Now, I was like, since this is my first bass tournament ever, I was stoked. I mean, I was like ready. I had a bottle of Gatorade. It's about 100 degrees out there. We're fishing. I mean, we're in the boat. My hat blows off. That sun tore me up. The reflection of the sun bouncing off the water did a lot more damage than I thought it would. I was totally dehydrated because I only had one like bottle of Gatorade. A few days later, my face kind of felt funny and the skin started peeling off, right? I hate going to the doctor. I went to the doctor that day and the doctor said, "You got sunburn." He asked me, had I been out in the sun? And I said, yeah. So he said, "You've got sunburn." I'm from the South. I grew up in the sun. I mean, I've been to the desert. I've been to the Middle East and never, ever got sunburned. So it can happen to us all. When I go out, I always wear a hat, a neck buff, a long sleeve shirt that's moisture wicking, gloves, and lightweight pants. When you're out there, make sure you use sunscreen and apply it often because you sweat it off. And don't forget the lip balm. I kind of hate applying sunblock to my face, so I usually use a neck buff, to cover that area. And I can remove it if needed, if it gets a little too hot or something like that. The reason I wear long sleeve shirts and pants is so the sun doesn't shine directly on my skin. This helps regulate the body temperature and it actually keeps me cooler. It actually does for most people. I use a neck buff. Well, they actually call it a neck gaiter from a company called Mission. The reason I love this neck buff, it has a UPF 50 sunblock protection in it. And what you do is you wet it in the water, just wring it out, then you put it on. This will help lower your actual like body temperature and help the evaporation process and help keeps your body cooler. And it will last for about 2 hours. And all you have to do is repeat the wetting process and every 2 hours and you have all day comfort. Most anglers wear polarized sunglasses when they're fishing. I always recommend having a spare pair with you. The constant glare from the sun will take a toll on your eyes, so make sure you protect them. A good quality pair of sunglasses is always important when fishing. It also helps protect your eyes from the harmful UV rays throughout the day. Need some water real quick. If you're on the water and you ever start to feel dizzy, get headaches, start catching cramps, nausea, feeling very fatigued, or like you're going to faint, let somebody know immediately and take appropriate actions. If you're alone, you need to find a spot in the shade or, under a bridge, rehydrate yourself, and take a break. Don't let pride cost you everything. Taken from somebody that's carried a 60-pound rock in the desert sun at 115 degrees. A heat injury is nothing to play around with. A simple thing you can do to help beat the heat is go out early before the sun gets up too high or fish, later in the day so the sun's not beating down on you, or even fish at night. This is not just for, tournament fishing. It can be applied when outside doing anything, when you're in the heat, like cutting grass, hiking, on the pontoon boat with your family. Don't take chances, especially when you don't have to. I hope I was able to shed a little light on the subject, because very few people, really cover this. I haven't dropped one of my quotes in a while, and I know somebody out there needs to hear this. If the elevator to success is out of order, you have to use the stairs, one step at a time. A lot of people see that out of order sign on the elevator and they just turn around and leave because it's not the easy way. You got to want it. You got to take the stairs sometimes. You got to take the hard way to get what you want. If you got even a little value out of this video, you know what to do. Set that hook on the subscribe button. You know, drop me a comment so I know I'm giving you the content that you like. Right? Tight lines, everybody. Check out my next video. See you on the water. Out.